Live. Yes, there we go. Ta-da! I have no idea what was making it wait so long. Okay, first and foremost, happy holidays. Can you hear me? If you're in the chat room, give me a couple of thumbs up or a little something to let me know that you're there. That's wonderful. Who's here? I have a microphone up here. I can't tell anything about the microphone. Okay, yes, I do see a little microphone thing there. Excellent. Okay. Welcome to the chat. There's a whole bunch of chat up here already. And I'm going to type a couple of things real quick. All right. Yes, okay. Thank you. All right, a couple more things real quick. All right, so that yes, Bridget, hello, happy holidays. Oh, I'm so glad to see some people here. Let me just stick this link in here, and then I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to play some music and talk and all of that. Okay, grand. It's crazy. I couldn't tell anything beforehand. I couldn't see anything. I had no idea if anything was working. Welcome to my humble abode. I got a couple of Christmas candles lit. The tree is all trimmed and ready. And I got guitars. Oh boy. Oh, Bridget, and it's nice to get to sing for your mom too. Excellent. Well, let's see what it sounds like, shall we? Let's see if the voice and the guitar are balanced. I have a microphone over my head. Merry Christmas to you too, Patty. It's great to see you. I've got can everybody hear me okay? First thing I'll do, I've got a whole suite of things over here. I've got mulled cider, I've got water, but I've got first a toast to your good health and better company. Thank you. This is an annual tradition at our house, but I won't talk about it too much until we get everybody in here and make sure everything is working. So I live in Lincoln. And Lincoln, Virginia is a little place, and it's a beautiful little place, a place where we kind of cling to our past a little tightly and watch the oil slick of progress come ever closer all the time. Thursday night, we'll do our annual holiday tradition of going caroling from door to door, the young and old alike. And it seems only fitting that these are two of my anchor rituals of the season, to go caroling here and to do this winter holiday vidcast with you. This is a song from the new album about the place where I put roots down. Our road on the 4th of July for the kids to ride by, with streamers on their bikes, red and blue and white. Let the judges decide. Bring a dish to share, your favorite folding chair. Try to stay cool. We read the famous words just like we've heard since we were kids at school. In my little town, renamed from Honest Abe, somehow it became where I put roots down. Graveyard stones hide more than bones in the red clay ground. These sunken gravel roads wind back in time and slowly disappear. The last dairy farm keeps holding on another year. In my little town, in my little town, where the fire breaks out, where the roof caves in, where the snow's piled high, times are worse they've been. Progress of the present brings the future crashing down. Stand up with each other here in our little town. Try not to blink and miss our little town. like the year before, firelight caroling. We pray that it lasts, cherishing our past until it's gone. When papers still wave, stories we still save to pass on down. In my little town, in my little town, when the fire breaks out, when the roof caves in, when the snow's piled high, times are worse they've been. The progress of the present brings the future crashing down. Stand up with each other here in our little town. Try not to blink and miss our little town. The world of change swirls around our little town. And a Merry Christmas to you and your Mountain Dew, too. So, can we hear everything okay? Is the guitar and the voice all right? I can adjust the microphone a little bit. I can make changes as needed. It's been so gloomy, dark, dreary, dank, wet. We got a little snow, and then it got too warm for it to stick around, and so it all just kind of melted, and it was like 35 and dreary here. And it seems like it's been that way for most of the last month. So I definitely am all about the light at this time of the winter solstice, and the mulled cider too. So tonight is super special. Yay! All right. The beautiful thing about YouTube, people can watch you from anywhere where they've got Wi-Fi. Buenas noches, Maria Linda. It's so good to see you here. So for this last year, I have taken a lot of time off the road to work on this new project that came from 6 years of wandering about aimlessly in my family history. And a lot of it happened because of my grandmother. She's sort of the one who made all us kids take the gateway drug to genealogy and write out our Revolutionary War lineage and stuff like that. But in the summer of 2016, I connected with some cousins from out on the West Coast that I had never met. Some of my grandfather's sister's kin. And my grandfather never spoke a word about his sister, Margaret, to me. And I often wondered about her because I'd heard she was an opera singer and the black sheep of the family and all of this other stuff. But Margaret also happened to be my great-grandmother's name. And my great-grandfather was a fiddler. And it turns out that he was also a songwriter. And it also happens to be that he and I share a name, Andrew McKnight. And so right around the time that I was connecting with these cousins out on the West Coast, I found this piece of music that my parents had, written and published by my great-grandfather, Andrew McKnight, in 1906. Now, I don't really know how to describe to you what that feeling is like of having that experience. But I will say that I found it deeply moving that we shared some songwriter DNA amongst all the rest of it. And so I had heard a lot of stories about him and that he wasn't a particularly nice guy. I do recall that my cousin told me that my great grandmother died in 1948, and he was there at her bedside the night that she died, and he played his fiddle for her all night, and it was really pretty cool. And so I this whole finding a song written for her called Margaret. I started playing around with a little bit of a melody, and I started I figure, well, shoot, if I'm going to do something with this, I'm going to have to learn how to do some new things. And so I was kind of teaching myself how to do this Travis picking thing that I don't do at all. Kind of that Doc Watson finger style thing. And I thought, well, it'd be cool to write a song around that, but I have no idea what I'm doing. So, in the course of getting to know cousin Margaret's kinfolk, last fall, October 2018, the eldest grandson, Margaret's eldest grandson, decided that they needed to come and get to meet their family, and so they came out for a visit. He and Carson and his wife Valerie came for a week, and it was like we've been together celebrating holidays and stuff all of our lives. It was an amazing experience, and I realized at that point that that was what I needed to finish the song, was that visit. But the song is this is the title cut from Treasures in My Chest, and there's a lot about all of this in the book too, and the book will be done probably by the end of February. So you'll see at the link that I posted, the Bandcamp link, you can download the album now. It is officially done and ready and public as of tonight. But you can also pre-order the book if you want. And there's a whole lot of how you can find some of these incredible stories in your own family too, as well as using mine as a little bit of a lens. So anyway, this is the title cut to Treasures in My Chest. Good. I'm glad you're back. I killed some time for you. And so I decided that the perfect way to preface this would be to play my great-grandfather's piece, Margaret. On the album, my sister played it on the piano, but she's not here, so you get it on the guitar tonight. Scent of cedar rises as I open up the lid. Childhood things and so much more. Darkness kept safe hidden, and it holds my stories like a sailor's prized possessions while he's out at sea. Wrinkled scraps of paper, faded photographs, my name on a manuscript, with notes upon the staff, the lines unfolding on these pages I am holding, written long ago. Oh, the gifts running through my veins and fingers on the strings as they flow from these treasures in my chest. Timeless rhythm beating steady in my breast. Memories and hand-me-downs present from the past. Countless treasures in my chest. Pieces of this puzzle of how I came to be. Family names and question marks, somehow part of me. Now I'm climbing up this tree, exploring branches that I see for the first time. Oh, Samaritans and saints, rogues and renegades all come alive from these treasures in my chest. Timeless rhythm beating steady in my breast. Memories and hand-me-downs present from the past. Countless treasures in my chest. message tone awakens me from my imagining. The actions in the here and now that music brought to me. For they've sat here at my table, raising toasts and breaking bread, and it was real. Oh, we are bound by magic twists, and proof that they existed now revealed from these treasures in my chest. Timeless rhythm beating steady in my breast. Memories and hand-me-downs present from the past. Countless treasures in my chest. I'm rich with treasures in my chest. Treasures in my chest. Boy, have I been blessed with many. It's so nice to see family and friends in the house tonight. Thank you ever so much. Thank you for helping me to kick off this album sort of in the online world with all the people who can't be here for the big release concert, which will be happening in Percival at our local theater at Franklin Park Arts Center. And that's going to be on March the 6th. The book will be done, all of it. But tonight, the album is done and you can get it. You have to wait no longer. If Michelle is tuned in upstairs, I'm sure she can paste the link in there again. The Bandcamp link is in the chat. And also, for those of you who are willing to help keep the roof overhead, I greatly appreciate that too. You can do the PayPal or Venmo thing if you'd like to make a contribution tonight. info@andrewmcknight.net. I appreciate all of that. But most of all, I appreciate being able to celebrate the holidays with you tonight. Cousin Bob is here too. Yay. I'm so thrilled to have everyone here. Is the sound working out okay? Can you hear the voice over the guitar all right? I'm about to play one that's a little louder. So many incredible things happened in the time that I've been diving into my family history. I kind of feel like my grandmother has been with me along the way the whole time. She would have been uncomfortable with how much of a part she plays in both my chatter on stage and what I've done with her family history, but she would love it that I'm doing it. It's this time of year around the winter solstice when they say the veil feels thin and that the presence of your ancestors is closer than it is any other time. I don't know if I believe it or not, but it sounds good, and on these long, dark, and dreary nights, it's nice to have something like that to hold on to. So this is the guitar that was gifted to me when my parents and my sister and I went to Ireland and Scotland on the last great nuclear family vacation. And we met some of my dad's cousins in the town where our family came from in the mid-1800s, a place called Newtonards. And our cousins, our new cousins, sent me home with this beautiful Loudon guitar. I wrote a lot of the songs for Treasures in my chest on this guitar, as you might guess. But the first one I wrote was that first winter after the trip, 2017. I was doing a holiday show, songwriter's holiday show, but it was expected that there would be a holiday song included in the bunch. So I thought, well, this is a good opportunity to write something on this guitar and maybe honor the ancestors that brought it to me as well. So I got to thinking about, we had been there at the summer solstice and it was beautiful and it was light until late and it was an incredible experience and warm and just lovely all the way around. And I got to thinking, around the time of Christmas and the winter solstice, it would be dark there at 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon. I mean, it would probably be like 6 hours of daylight. And I was, holy cow, what do you do in the days before electricity and iPhones and TV and all the rest of that? And then I got to thinking, the work that they did was hard too. They worked in the lead mines, and they worked on boats, and they worked in the mills, working with linen and stuff. And I thought, geez, that's not even paid holidays probably and everything. And so the more I got to thinking about it, it's like Christmas wouldn't have been a particularly joyful time, and yet here's this tradition of being joyful at Christmas anyway. So I guess I chalk that up to some of my ancestors in Northern Ireland also being good at distilling spirits of other kinds. So with that, I raise a toast to you and to all of our ancestors who are the reason that we're here. And I bring you a dram to the holidays. Flickering candle, cold window glass, brave and small in the dark. It's beamed like a lighthouse on winter shores. Guide me safe home in its glow. The wee ones slumber deep in their beds, tucked close in a room much too small. Their dreams burn brightly, far more than they should. Reason enough to believe. Lord, give them a reason to believe. Raise a dram to the holidays, long may they last. With hopes for the future, dance with ghosts of the past, and hold tight to the best of what's been. We're still here at the holidays again. They come home off the water and home from the mines, with blurry lines worn in their souls. And outside the revelers filling the square, voices raise hymns up on high, proclaiming that Christmas is nigh. Raise a dram to the holidays, long may they last. With hopes for the future, dance with ghosts of the past. Hold tight to the best of what's been. We're still here at the holidays again. The longest of nights gives way to the dawn. Its radiance christens the sea. Sweets in the oven, a log on the fire, and an angel once been. We're still here at the holidays. Raise a tram to the holidays. Long may they last. Where hopes for the future dance with ghosts of the past. And hold tight to the best of what's been. We're still here at the holidays. A dram to the holidays, especially to my English cousin Steve and to dear Rose. I'm so glad that y'all are here tonight too. This very living room the other night, we had 25 people packed in here for our annual winter holiday party, and it was crazy. And of course, music breaks out every year late. And we sat here, and a bunch of us sang that song, and this room was just alive with harmonies. And Rachel, Lisa Taylor, my bandmate for so many years, our drummer, is her daughter Rachel is now a freshman at the Peabody Conservatory in Baltimore, and Rachel played cello on the record, and her cello solo on A Dram to the Holidays is worth the price of admission all by itself. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh my goodness. To my dear family, all the present and the departed, and the absent tonight, but not always. Cheers to all of them. So, there have been so many stories, and I'm glad that I got to write a book. And frankly, the whole thing demanded that I wrote a book because there was just no way that I could tell all of the stories and share the experiences or the how the experiences happened in any way less than a book, really. One of the key characters in the book is my 3 times great grandfather, Artis Culver, whom I met online one night at rentagrandpa.com, as I like to say. Actually, it was that when I mentioned that my grandmother had made us all write out our Revolutionary War heritage and stuff, she made me do that. I was about 9, and my handwriting was as pathetic then as it is now. So I had filled in all of this information that my grandmother gave me when I first got on Ancestry.com about this time in 2012, I guess. And here's this one stick in the middle of this big, beautiful bush of a family tree that my grandmother has. And it's this guy named Culver. And I'm like, I can't even figure out what I wrote for his first name. I have no idea what that is. So I played around with it for a while. And finally, one night, 5 years ago at Christmas, we were at my parents' house, and I was sitting there on the computer, and I was like, I'm going to figure out what his name is tonight. If it kills me, I ought to be able to know something about this guy. So I typed away, and I tried a few different spellings, and lo and behold, I hit on the right one, which there's actually a couple of different spellings of it, but what I hit on was Aretas, Artis Culver. And the weirdest thing happens is that there's this picture staring at me on my laptop. And this is how I get to know who he is or anything about him, is like looking him in the eyes in his Civil War uniform, which is his picture, which is hanging at the Connecticut State Library, which is why he's online, because Connecticut Public Radio did a story about this exhibition of the photographs of the state's Civil War veterans who had been imprisoned at Andersonville, of all things. So that's how I met Artis Culver. And over these last 5 years, I have walked in his footsteps at the Battle of Antietam. And just a few weeks ago, several of you who are here with me digitally tonight, virtually tonight, were there in person in his hometown of Bristol, Connecticut, when we dedicated a new headstone from the VA, a proper Civil War headstone. And it was an incredible experience, and these 5 years with Artist Culver have been absolutely crazy. Before I do the tune, though, if you're willing, take a moment to let your friends know that we're here on YouTube, that it's live. Share it whatever way is easy for you to share on Facebook or whatever. Let's see if we can get three or four more dozen people in here. Nighty night, sweetheart. You want to say hi? Come say hi. Maybe that'll get a few more people to come join us. It's too bad it's bedtime. And yes, she makes an appearance on the record too.
All right, good night.
Good night, sweetie. Multiple appearances on the record, in fact. More about that in a little while. So anyway, thank you for helping spread the word. And maybe we can spread the link around. You know what? I'm going to paste that link in here one more time. For those of you who haven't got the CD, I think I can just hit paste right there. Yes, there we go. There it is. For those of you who are kind enough to help make the record, you've already got it. But for the general public, the downloads are now available at Bandcamp. 15 songs, 50 minutes, all of the liner notes and lyrics in readable print, including Artist Culver. Ooh, I don't like that buzz. Let's make sure that doesn't buzz like that. Good, much better. Can't be buzzing on winter holiday vidcast. Not cool. And especially on a beautiful guitar that you've been gifted by your cousins. My name is Artist Culver, the summer of '62. I traded in my papers for a uniform in blue. I took Abe Lincoln's bounty, the Union swore to save. What I have seen since that day haunts me to my grave. We were farmers, merchants, clockmakers, and I knew all their names. Some escaping trouble, still others seeking fame. Proud we marched down Main Street while Bristol rang her bells. None could know our destiny, glory or to hell. Oh, can't escape the dreams. Hear this scream, oh, and I will kill no more. Oh, let them fight their civil war. Put on a train to Maryland with but a single drill to Antietam's killing fields. On a cornstalk hill, we faced their fiercest legion and withering hail of lead, and terror and wild rebel yells echoed in our head. We dug graves from many days, watched my lifeless eyes, then marched with rifles at our back and hands that fought at our side. Little Mac called it victory, but for failure we were blamed. If I might survive this war, I vow to clear my name. Oh, I can't escape the dreams. Don't you hear this scream? Oh, and I will kill no more. Oh, let them fight their civil war. Surrounded, the siege at Plymouth town, till our white rag of surrender stopped the shells from raining down. skin and bones, her soul had long been lost. I am artist color, practice fading past. To my wife and children, love them to the last. Curse I leave this world big before the fighting's done. It's those that vote to start the wars, be those that face the guns. I can't escape the dream. Don't you hear this scream? And I will kill no more. Let them fight their civil war. Artist Culver from the new record. From a new record. Oh my goodness. It's been since Madeline was a baby, a newborn, that I've been in the studio working on a new record. It's kind of crazy to even think of. And yet, not only do I have a new record out, but the next project has already started. The next path has laid itself out for me. For this past spring, and again in the fall, I had the extraordinary experience and privilege of spending some time at a retreat sponsored by the music therapy program of the Rockies and the Wounded Warrior Project, working with combat veterans coping with PTSD, using songwriting as a vehicle to help reframe their stories and help them to rewire their thinking a bit. And I thought, wow, what a cool way to be able to give a little something back. I had no idea how profoundly I would be moved or impacted by all of this. But I've written 4 songs this year with 4 different veterans, and the experience has been incredible. I have every intention that in 2021, my next recording is going to be these songs that I've written with these veterans and the veterans to come in the next year and a half. And I have no idea what we'll call it, but the path has already kind of laid itself out. And I think that's just funny how I really didn't write anything until I had something to say. And all of a sudden, Treasures in My Chest blows up. And here's a book and an album and everything. And the next project is underway. And I'm just thinking, how funny is life, you know? Treasures in My Chest was a lot like a PhD research and dissertation and everything else like that. And yet at the end of the day, I hope the songs just really sound great and move you. There are lots of cool short pieces on the album that are all done on instruments that I was gifted. All these short little minute or so long pieces. The guitar that I was gifted in Ireland makes its presence known. The Native American flute that showed up in my mailbox from my friend Eva out in the Sierra Nevada, California, opens the album. And this beautiful classical guitar that our friend Teresa gave us a couple of years ago. I had to write something for the album on that too. So there are all these little, I call them little interstitial pieces because they weave together one thing into the next. And then of course the song Margaret is only about a minute long too, but that was a gift from my great grandfather to have the song. So anyway, getting to work with these veterans has been an incredible gift. And on Sunday, I was in the recording studio with one of them who wanted to gift the song that we wrote to his family for Christmas. And it was the coolest thing. I don't know if Josh is here with us tonight, but it was just so fun watching him seeing this song that we wrote together in a weekend and played and sang for a bunch of fellow veterans and their families, to be in the recording studio for the first time. And Les Thompson, my old bandmate, played the bass. So here we are with the platinum record for "Will a Circle Be Unbroken" hanging on the wall, and here's Les playing bass on his song. And I played a little dobro as well as guitar, and it reminds me that it's an exquisite gift to be able to do these things and to be lucky enough to do them, and to be lucky enough that people like you care enough that I do these things to want to keep supporting me and showing up online and in person. Thank you ever so much for that. So this is the song that Josh and I wrote together, and it's kind of about, I don't know, I guess I sort of relate to the fact that he and I are both in a bridge generation where we have kids growing up and aging parents too. And so it's called This Bridge. The letter came written in my old man's hand. The new recruit at basic couldn't understand why the lad back home never spoke of what he saw. He'd always held it in, then explode and withdraw. This bridge is crumbling, troubled waters are pulling me in. Hold the line by a little more time. Take my hand, you had my back. Now it's my turn to fix these cracks in this bridge that we're walking over. My baby girl's face like a candle in the black. In my mind somehow I gotta find my way back. I've seen 1,000 things that I can't forget, and 1,000 things haven't stopped me yet. But this bridge ain't crumbling, no troubled waters are pulling me in. Hold the line by a little more time. Take my hand, you had my back. Now it's my turn to fix these cracks in this bridge that we're walking over. I'm holding on to the locket that helped get me here. Funny how something broken can hold back the fear. We gather around the table this Thanksgiving Day. I see my dad and my daughter face to face. But this bridge ain't crumbling, no troubled waters are pulling me in. Hold the line by a little more time. Take my hand, you had my back. Now it's my turn to fix these cracks in this bridge that we're walking over. On this bridge that we built to go walking Thank you. Nate got to hear us doing this on Sunday. It's very cool that you were there. Well, we happened to be recording that day. It was a great experience for all of us. So I'm gonna play one more of the Vet songs before I go back to my album. But for those of you who would like to share Treasures in My Chest with your friends, I'd love it if you please share that link around. It'll be good from here going forward. It'll also be on my website too. So I definitely would love to start getting it in a lot of people's hands because, well, it would be great for it not to sit here in my house and all of this work to be heard by other people and all of that. And I would be delighted to be able to share it with more folks. So is the YouTube live thing working out okay for everybody? You can hear everything. You're able to chat. I can see you, and well, I can see your commentary anyway, and I'm grateful for that. For those of you who are doing the PayPal or Venmo thing, I greatly appreciate that too. Thank you for helping do that. For those of you who helped make the album, golly, I can't thank you enough, and I sure hope that you've been enjoying it. So I'm going to do another one of the veteran songs. This one comes from the October retreat, and I haven't done this on a vidcast yet, but this guy's story was just so powerful to me, and sort of proud of the way the song came together, and he just had lived a different kind of life, and I don't know, I'm just grateful for the experiences of getting to meet these people. They wrote that blank check for us, and then to be a little part of helping, I don't know, manage the consequences, understand the consequences. I'm not sure what the right verbiage is. All I know is that it warms my heart to be able to write something that moves them in a deep way. This one moved me in a deep way too. This guy had all of my veterans at some point had been at the brink of pulling the switch and being done, and that his happened to be in a very public way, and he said afterwards that by the time that everything was settled down and he was under control and was able to catch his breath and everything, he said, this whole thing about 22 vets a day take their own lives. And he said, I decided that mine wasn't going to be one of the ones today. It's called The Life That I Choose. Driving Flatland, Michigan with the radio on. A teenage dad in a country song. Graduates all go away. 2 baby girls need me to stay behind. Sign my name on a solid line. Wrote a blank check and went to Paris Isle. Band of brothers like no other bond. Be a Marine, you can be someone. All those years of training found a moment of grace, moments of mercy staring face to face. In that moment I saw nothing, I found everything to lose. Today is gonna take one less. It's life that I choose. Took away my badge and gun. The things I believed made me someone. Might as well take my soul and take my bones. Empty shell all alone in the darkness. All those years of training found a moment of grace, a moment of mercy staring face to face. In that moment I saw nothing, I found everything to lose. Today is gonna take one less. It's life that I choose. It's life that I choose. something solid on shaky ground. Lessons in the rubble that I have found. Took a lot of pride and a lot of heart to take a chance and a second start at being alive. All those years of training found a moment of grace, moments of mercy staring face to face. In that moment I saw nothing, I found everything to lose. Today is gonna take one less. It's life that I choose. It's life that I choose. I see Flatland, Michigan, the radio's on. Now I'm the one who chose this song. The life that I choose. Oh, it's so lovely to be celebrating the holidays with you here. This tree smells great. This tree also has a drinking problem. It's drinking literally like a wine bottle of water every day. And I didn't feed it before this tonight because I figured with me stomping on the floor, it'd probably spill it out. But the way it's going, it wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes anyway. I'm glad of the choosing to stay. I have been a very lucky and blessed man to have had these adventures these last few years, to be able to have the opportunity and the gift to make art from them. Um, One of the things that really mattered to me on this recording was that my family was involved, and I did a song with my sister playing piano, our great grandfather's piece, and I'm going to play a couple of songs that were done with other family members. And all the years that I've been recording, so I grew up in a musical household. My dad plays piano, and he's played keyboards in bands as long as I've known anything about anything. And so there would always be bands rehearsing in my basement. So he likes to chart everything out, and so over these past couple of decades, while I've been doing this crazy singer songwriter thing, whenever I'd go up there on tour, if the opportunity presented itself to have him sit in with me at a show, I enjoyed doing that. And he did the concert in Bristol with me because artist Culver is his great great grandfather. So it was really cool. His mother was the one who got us all sucked into the family history. And for all of the years that I've played together with my dad, I had never recorded with him. And it was not only a desirable thing, it was essential that we did that this time around. So I played him some of the songs, and he said, "Well, yeah, that's all. That's just someplace I don't really get." And to be fair, there's lots of little weird things in these songs where I chopped out a beat here, a couple of beats there, and just kind of, because it felt like the right thing to do musically, but it makes it a little harder to penetrate intellectually, I suppose. And so I said, well, let me write something. Let me write something specifically for this project. And I think it would be cool to do that. So literally, I wrote the song at the end of June, the end of July, middle of July. We recorded the basic tracks to it a week after I wrote it. And then I got connected with a recording engineer up in Eastern Connecticut where my parents lived to come to the house and record Dad playing keyboards. So we got him to do all of that. And it was cool. And he did a great job. He played piano and organ and stuff. And I was just thinking how funny it is in the McKnight family that there's this stuff with sons and fathers. There's always stuff. And it turns out that it's stuff that's gone on forever because, and what I've learned about our McKnight family history, all the way back to Newtonards and County Down, is that every generation that I come from, the son moved away from where he grew up and started his life someplace else. And his son did the same thing. And I was just thinking, yeah, that's about right. That's about how things work in this family. So now that I'm that bridge between, having a kid of my own and having aging parents and all that, I really get it. So I wrote this for him, and he seemed to like playing it all right. He seemed to think that it was musically okay. I still haven't heard whether he likes the lyrics or not, but it's too late. It's already on the album. So this is called Sons and Fathers. We're all born screaming, naked and afraid. Looking back, it's funny seeing and all those plans I made. We'd throw our balls and race our bikes, sometimes dare to dream. Manhood ain't as hard as fathers make it seem. I guess it's just the way of things. We take our place in line, like our fathers and their fathers did when it was their time. Now we're slowly trading places. I suppose those are the rules. But Father Time won't suffer any fools. And all those things we cannot say, we're perfectly imperfect at getting out of our own way. We do not, and we will not, could not, though we know it's true. Nothing else gets quite as tangled up in knots as sons and fathers do. No use settling old scores. Gotta meet him where he's at, on that bridge off our shore. Now it's my turn in that easy chair. It's the hardest thing I've done. Though any man can take the gig, it ain't for everyone. The have-tos and the must-dos, credit and the blame we earn, hoping what we teach is what they need to learn. And all those things we cannot say, we're perfectly imperfect at getting out of our own way. We do not, and we will not, could not, though we know it's true. Nothing else gets quite as tangled up in knots as sons and fathers do. Ooh, 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 ooh. Pop plays a pretty sweet piano solo on that one, if you haven't heard it yet. I can't even believe I'm talking about a record that's finished. It's just astonishing to me that we've gotten to this point. I'm so glad and grateful. I'm going to do two more songs from the new record tonight, and then I'm going to bid you adieu. In part because my cider is getting cold, but in part because I've kept you way too long already. And I'm really grateful. I'm so happy that I get to do this, celebrating the holidays with friends and family far flung everywhere. Doesn't matter where you live, you can tune into these things. And I think this is the 10th year I've done it because this is the 10th year we've been living in this house. The first time I did it, we had a big blizzard and everybody was snowed in for a whole week here in Virginia in the Blue Ridge foothills and stuff. And it's like, oh my God, well, I can't do anything. My students can't come. I can't. How am I going to make any money? And it's like, well, at least we could try this vidcasting thing. That would be kind of cool. So there were so many people who were snowed in that night. We had an incredible crowd. It was on the old Ustream platform. It's turned into a tradition ever since, and I got out here in front of the tree this year for the first time. I've usually had to do it in the dining room because of the internet. So hopefully the internet is working okay tonight. I haven't seen any complaints about buffering or anything else like that, but maybe if you got kicked off, I'd never know about it anyway, which would be sad. So my kid who poked her head in here a while ago plays the fiddle every now and then. And she's better at it than she'd like to admit, and nowhere near as good at it as she would be if she picked it up and played it more than once every 3 months. But I started noodling around with her fiddle, I guess, a year ago, and I started kind of just working out this melody. And I thought, man, that would be really cool to record that and make a song out of that. So as we got close to the finish line, I realized, this could do a really cool uh, bit on the record. And so we worked on it for a while, and we went in the studio, and I just sang. She played the fiddle, and I sang, and we did it live, and it was an adventure. But to do something where I have always been responsible for holding myself up, and other people chime in, and here I am in a position and that I'm used to being in the studio, and I'm used to being the songwriter, and I'm used to doing all of these things. Um, and here I am in this familiar environment in a totally unfamiliar position because I'm completely dependent on my kid to hold me up musically. So it's a short song, and I'm going to do it a cappella because I don't think I should play it without her. I think I probably will never play it with anybody else. I'll just sing it unless she's playing it with me. That's how it's going to go. It's called Long Ago and Far Away. When I was just a child, full of hope and dreams of everywhere I'd go and everything I'd see, my grandmother's knee and stories that she'd saved of lives that we'd lived long ago and far away. In the face of my child, full of hope and dreams of everywhere she'll go and everything she'll see, I will keep treasures safe and pass to her one day twice the tales that were lived long ago and far away. When I'll wear shades of gray around my wrinkled face, a child of my child, held in my embrace. In her turn, she will share the stories that she saved when it is I who once lived long ago and far away. Long ago and far away. Maybe that's what it's all about. Maybe the whole notion of getting to know our ancestors is really about understanding that someday we will be the ancestors. It will be our turn to be the ones who are subject of wonder and mystery. while I don't look forward to that, I embrace it. I embrace you for being here with me tonight. I'm so grateful. I'm going to close this show tonight with the same thing that I'm closing the record with. It was a gift from a friend from the beyond. My friend Chris King passed away back in April. He'd been sick for a while, but he'd had a broken heart for several years since his wife died and didn't really want to be there after that. And I thought, well, it's totally understandable that Chris would just, had their lives were so deeply intertwined. Yes, indeed, a wee dram. A dram to the holidays and a dram to your health. Because being here is, as far as I'm concerned right now in this moment, better than any alternative I can envision. So when Chris passed away, he'd asked for myself and my friend Les Thompson to do the eulogies at his memorial service. And of course, he worked with Les, but he'd known him for a long time. Les was one of the founding members of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and the Will the Circle Be Unbroken album is probably in every mature music, roots music fans record collection someplace. And they got to know each other real well over the years. I think Les was the last one to spend any time with him the night before he died too. So I thought about it long and hard, and the ceremony was at the Unitarian Church here in Loudon, which is built in 1890 by these descendants of formerly enslaved people who lived at Oatlands Plantation, and they worked at night while they were sharecropping during the day, and they built this beautiful little chapel, not a ton bigger than my living room. And when they outgrew it, the Unitarians bought it back in the 1990s, and Chris was instrumental in making that happen. And so what the building is just like wood and country church, and for 100 years, these people who endured such oppression and white supremacy and stuff, the era of segregation and lynchings and Jim Crow and all of that. And all of the wood in that chapel is soaked with all of their joys and sorrows and hopes and despairs and stuff. And it's just a magical place. And I remember that Chris had invited me to play at the dedication of the church back in 2000, I think. And it was a gray, dreary day. I remember that. But the clouds were kind of lifting, and midway through, I think I was even playing when it happened. The sun streamed through the windows. It broke through the clouds, streamed through the windows, and it just exploded in this little chapel. And it was just this holy, sacred experience. And so I always thanked Chris for introducing me to the sound in that building. It was just incredible. Played a lot of concerts there over the years. And so at his memorial service, I was thinking about how much Chris had been a scholar of, an enthusiast, and a huge backer of the blues and blues artists, and really turning the rest of us on to this history that was here in our midst that we'd been missing out on. And he gave a sermon on the blues one time, and so I was thinking it would be really cool to go and play some sort of slidey something at his memorial, but I didn't really have any great ideas. And I got up that morning and I started noodling around just to sort of get some ideas. And right here in this very room, not but a foot away from where I'm sitting right now, the song came in like 15 minutes. And there it was on an index card, done and ready to go. And I realized that my friend had gifted me with something from the great beyond. And it was a perfect way to close out the record and a perfect way to close out tonight. That, along with my gratitude to you for being here. It's called When My Time Comes. time comes, don't shed a tear. When my time comes, don't shed a tear. I've got all I need, and it's beautiful here. When my time comes, raise your voice and sing. When my time comes, raise your voice and sing. Sounds just like angels when that joyful noise rings. When my time comes, hold out your hand. When my time comes, hold out your hand. Don't worry about me, lift up your fellow man and woman too. When my time comes, yeah, ring them bells. When my time comes, ring them bells. Till we meet again, fare thee well. And with that, family and friends, my introduction to you to Treasures in My Chest. 6 years in the making, a project I had no idea I was even going to do at the end of January. I had no real plan for making an album, let alone writing a book. For all of the people who encouraged me on this, I cannot thank you enough. For all of the people who supported the work along the way, thank you. I hope that you love it. That's my goal, is that you love it. I hope that you enjoyed tonight of hanging out here in my living room by my Christmas tree with me and 4 guitars. It's been a delight to do it. If you would like to contribute something tonight to help along, I'm grateful for that too. PayPal or Venmo works. info@andrewmcknight.net if you're so inclined. I thank you for that. It helps keep the mortgage paid and the lights on and all the rest of it. But most of all, I'd love to help have some help getting the record out there to the world. I'm going to hit the link one more time because it's all queued up. And you can copy and paste that. If you haven't got a copy yourself yet, please do. And promise me this one thing. Promise me that you'll listen to it from start to finish once. Just the way that it's laid out, no extra gaps in between the songs or anything. Just listen to it once all the way through. Have that experience, because I did the T-Rex thing. I went back to the Jurassic period in the era of streaming and Spotify, where we get paid 37 ten thousandths of a cent for every 100 plays or whatever, and we're just another song in the carriage that's playing anonymously along in the background. I made an album. I sequenced it. I put it together ever so carefully so that you would have that experience. And I would love for you to have it at least once. And I hope that it moves you in a different kind of way than just hearing each of these songs tonight. But I'm really grateful that you are here. A dram to the holidays, to your good health. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays. It's a lovely tradition, and I hope you'll keep doing it with me. And I hope that the YouTube live thing worked out okay for everyone too. So it was a lot less troublesome for me once it actually started working. So that's great. Cheers to you, family and friends. Much love from my heart. Enjoy the album. Enjoy the holidays. Be safe, be well, and talk soon.